And I remember, uh, walking on, there was a train coming, and I remember just thinking about, um, life is rough, and why keep living if your own father abandoned you? 2 months or a month and a half, I went out to Regions Bank and I got an equity line of credit, which is basically a credit card secured by the house, but very. The third thing I want to show you is you have to invest in stocks. You have to, because that's how you build wealth. You diversify, plug it in, and you'll get used to it. And you can plug it in and see like a projection of what you're going to have at the end of the month. And you can actually do projections based on your income versus expenses. What is up, guys? Welcome to Fatty 2.0. I would like to explain to you, you did not want to meet Fatty 1.0. So pretty much, here's my story. When I was 18, I had a full scholarship to a university in Ohio and fully paid. Everything was paid for. I went over there, hated my life, and I ended up dropping out. Came back home with my tail between my legs and told my dad, I'm sorry, all that stuff. And he basically picked me up from the airport, um, dropped me off at campus, close by a big university campus, and he said, "Good luck, son." I had nothing. I was 18. I had no money, nothing. So I pretty much, I was like thinking maybe it's a 1 hour punishment, 2 hour punishment. No, it was the real deal. Called my mom and she said, "You're not coming home." Anyways, so I ended up calling my best friend, and he was going to school, college. He was a couple of years older than me, and he was failing pretty much everything. So I begged him to come live with them, him and his mom and dad, and he said, "No, I'm walking on eggshells, so I can't even ask you to live there. I might get kicked out." So I ended up sleeping in his car, and it was snowing at the time. So I pretty much made my pants and shirts into a pillow in the backseat of his car, and I camped out for about a month and a half, freezing. It was absolutely awful. Used my jacket as a cover, and for about a month and a half, I stayed in his car, and finally moved into an apartment with a friend of his, and had to sleep on the floor because they had no furniture. And the guy gave me 2 weeks to pay him $100 a month to use his floor, basically. Uh, it was pretty rough. So got back to college, got my hands on any grants, scholarships, anything I could get my hands on. And honestly, during that time, it was really really rough. I mean, like your own father, um, abandoned you. And I remember, uh, walking on, there was a train coming, and I remember just thinking about, um, life is rough, and why keep living if your own father abandoned you? I literally remember, um, I don't know, it just came into my head like, Jesus on the cross saying, "Father, why have you abandoned me?" That's exactly what came to my mind. So you can imagine, like, I just didn't, it was just very, very rough. So if you're having a hard time and you're listening to this, you know, there is definitely hope. You just have to keep focused. You have to be strong minded, because a year, 2, 5 years from now, you'll look back and say, "Wow, I actually survived this." So to make a long story short, went back to school, busted my butt, got my accounting and finance degree, and I started buying up houses in 2008 to 2011 when everything was, as you know, super cheap. And by the way, now is the time to start looking, not to buy, because there's another 20 to 30, maybe more percent drop due to two factors. One, interest rates keep skyrocketing, and that's going to slow down the buying for sure, and that's going to eventually drop the price of houses even more. And the second problem is um, income. People are getting laid off. Income is dropping everywhere. People don't have the money to make down payments on houses. People that own houses are struggling to either pay for food or pay for my car note or pay for my mortgage. And I feel really bad for these people. Um, but it's time for you to think about it. And there are ways to buy houses, especially if you're a first time homeowner, to buy your first house. And by the way, when I started buying houses in 2008, I was broke. I bought 100% financing. And pretty much I bought my first house. It was $130,000. It was an estate sale. And we made all the repairs myself. 2 months or a month and a half, I went out to Regions Bank and I got an equity line out, equity line of credit, which is basically a credit card secured by the house, but very low rates, like 5% or so, versus credit cards are like 20% now. So took the equity line out and used that money for a down payment for a second house. And the second house was also foreclosure, and it's a domino effect. You get an equity line of credit for the third house, and keep going, et cetera, et cetera. That's how you build your wealth. And if you live in a house, you have a 4 bedroom house, whatever, get roommates. Let them pay for your mortgage, basically. That's the smartest thing you can do. Um, and of course, the tenants pay for themselves. And you can get tenants that are Section 8. And I'll show you all the websites I put my ads on for tenant requests or tenant advertisement. And I've been using them for years and they're free. Second thing I'm going to show you is how to, when you get contractor bids on anything you want to do, you don't have to do everything yourself. But if you want to get contractors to bid, you can create your own bidding war environment. I'll show you exactly how to do that. One example is I had to cut a tree down because a tenant complained a branch fell on her boyfriend's car. It was a pretty large tree. It was about, I think the first bid was about $3,000, which I wasn't going to pay that, even though it was about an 80-foot tree. So I ended up getting bids so low, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. Like I said, you create your own bidding war. So I ended up getting it cut for $750, and there were so many bids for above $2,500, $3,000. The third thing I want to show you is you have to invest in stocks. You have to, because that's how you build wealth. You diversify between real estate and stocks. And I will show you how to. A lot of people are living, hand to mouth, basically. And I created this Excel sheet, budget Excel sheet. It's none of these silly apps or whatever. It's free. Plug in, it's a monthly budget Excel sheet. You can plug in your daily expenses, just normal stuff like rent, utilities, food, grocery, whatever, eating out. And you can actually keep up, look at it in front of you every day, plug it in, and you'll get used to it. And you can plug it in and see like a projection of what you're going to have at the end of the month. And you can actually do projections based on your income versus expenses. What are you going to have in 6 months? And this could be an amazing goal for you to basically just know or have goals of how much your savings will be versus just walking blind. But this is like concrete help you will get. So that's pretty much, what I'm trying to do. This is my first video, so I would love for you to subscribe and like and leave comments if you want. But I'm definitely trying to help other people because I've tasted poverty, I've tasted abandonment, I've seen it all, I've felt it all. I mean, just don't give up. You just need to focus on what you need to do. Just be aggressive and be willing to change. And once you do that, you will achieve. And I'm your story. I'm your success story right here. I'm telling you, that's what you need to do. And I'm going to be here to help you, whatever it is. And like I said, I have finance and accounting degrees. So, and I work actually as a commercial real estate underwriter. So I know about companies and trends and financial analysis, and I can help with stocks and real estate and pretty much anything finance in the finance world. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening to me. I know I rambled a lot, but and remember, if you're having a terrible day, no matter how bad it is or a rough life, at least your name is not Fatty. So there you go. God bless.